Hi there, it's Paulie here with alcohol because, we're going to need drinks for this one because I'm going to review one of my own games at viewer request and, the shame of it. Oh, father, other pussycats get to make dodgy games. Oh boy. The Tank Vixens card game. Backstory. Okay, so years ago, the Earth cooled, and then the dinosaurs came, and then some kind of asteroid struck, and then, I don't know, there was a whole bunch of things, all kind of mammals with big horns and teeth, and then people turned up. And somewhere in that, towards the end of that, furry fandom happened. Yeah, so I was very much involved with the alternative comic scene in the 80s, and I wrote a lot of black and white sort of alternative comics, and from doing the Albedo role-playing game. So I met tons and tons of artists, and those of us who liked animal characters, which I definitely did, formed kind of a subgroup, and we just liked animal characters. So we called ourselves, basically it was Funny Animal Fandom. This later on became, what everyone now terms furry fandom. That was not what we called it then, and kind of we don't really call it that anymore either. Furry is a different thing. But I wrote a lot of furry comics, and there were a lot of, because this was the days of Fritz the Cat and all this sort of stuff. So yeah, alternative comics had a lot of, face it, a lot of sexy stuff involved. But anime at the time just was dominated by this, what we would now call fan service stuff. Sure, there's great stories out there. There's Spaceship Yamato and there's Sailor Moon and all this really cool stuff. But there was this kind of second stream of these things, and it was weird stuff. It really was. Just like panty shots and crazy stuff. It's just kind of knickers and yet more panty shots and gratuitous kind of ridiculous sexual posing. Okay. Always tied up with guns and weapons. Anime girls with big guns and whatever, and okay. Furry stuff at that stage had a lot of the same thing. There'd be artists, and so I had a couple of artist friends in particular. And one of them, he died recently. I loved him, Sean Howell. I'll love his art forever, but he would just draw cat girls and puma girls and fox girls and mouse girls and whatever. And of course, they're always, what's the polite way of saying, their affiliation with the genus Mammalia is never in any doubt. They're always big tits, and they'd be in whatever outfit you want. They might be in a barbarian fur bikini. They might be in a spacesuit. They might be in a skin-tight spacesuit. They might be in cool sci-fi combat armor. They might be in a bomber jacket and bikini bottom, and usually posing with weapons. But they always look kind of like, sexy and vape, and they're always just posing with the weapons. They're not using them, and clearly these aren't people who professionally use this stuff, because soldiers are usually covered in dirt and just look goddamn tired. So what are they doing? So there was a discussion amongst myself and a couple of other people, and it was like, someone basically said, what's next? I mean, we're just getting so many comics, military comics now, suddenly. Furry military comics. Tons and tons and tons of them. What's next? Like lesbian foxes and hover tanks? Wait, lesbian foxes and hover tanks? That could actually work. This turned eventually into Tank Vixens, which was a comic that I put out, which was a parody of anime and furry fandom artwork at the time. So the idea of this was, there's a reason behind it. Each Tank Vixens episode had, its own cool pseudoscience, but its core was posing. They're not meant to use the weapons. It's just about posing. See, now, most militaries are largely male, and they're in a largely male environment. They don't have to deal with women, and we've always seen this kind of ridiculous, overcompensating kind of male behavior. Lots of drinking, lots of swearing, lots of bro bonding, and all this cool kind of stuff. So sounds like a lot of overcompensation. These guys are obviously somewhat terrified of women. In fact, that's what happens. So in this funny animal world, there is the Vimps, the Vol Imperium. These are voles and so on, and they are just sweeping the field because they are led by the evil field mouse general, Uda von Steppenschlammer, who is a terribly sexy, crazy field mouse. And she was always accompanied by her very silent, very sensible sidekick and secretary, Hilda. and Uda is always like, she'll rave, no, wonderful, we'll take over everything, Hilda, kill something, no, blam, squeeze, she'll just like, she'll just shoot one of the minions. They're always surrounded by their Vol troopers, who are, every time the gals sort of bend over or whatever, one or more of these guys will just have heart attacks and die. It doesn't matter, playing more Vols where that comes from, but the opposition just hasn't been able to stand up against the sexy posing skills of Uda. Or can they? Wait. What they had to do was make their own counterforce. So they made the 101st Heavy Tank Crushing Battalion, which is basically a group of foxes who are designed to outpose the posers on the other side. Yes, it's girls in sexy outfits posing around with guns, and of course, the enemy Vimps will come raging in, see these girls, be too terrified to go near them in case the girls speak to them, so instead they'll just run away. And therefore, yay, the battlefield belongs to the Vixens. And this is the basis of this ridiculous comic. This thing ran for many, many issues, and it was a riot, an absolute riot. There was and each series of them had its new bit of ridiculous pseudoscience. So there was another one where they, my favourite star drive of all time, they use a gullibility drive. Essentially, you are where you want to be, or where you believe you are. A interstellar drive, everyone gets onto the starship, okay, yeah, and yep, then the screen's light up, the ship has taken off now, yes, you get views of the planet going behind you, there's artificial gravity, that's why you can't feel any inertia, oh yeah, artificial gravity, yep. And then the screens kind of show, okay, now we're turning on the warp drive, whoosh, as the stars zoom around you, and then, whoo, you're approaching a new planet, okay, and we're there. Because you're convinced you're there, you're now at the other planet. This whole system works as long as no one ever suspects that it's all basically entirely a bluff. Just no one knows. There is a navigation tape that you put in, which is basically just an old clunky VHS tape that you put in, which is just, the light show that goes onto all the screens on the ship. However, in one of the episodes, someone accidentally loads in a copy of Gone with the Wind, which everyone watches, and yes, they end up in Gone with the Wind world. There's another series of these that I was going to do, which was The Search for the Frazetta Stone, Secrets of More Posing, but I digress. So anyway, this was the gift that gave. It was a piss take on those two fandoms, and wackily enough, no one got the joke. They just thought it was the coolest thing on earth. They didn't see that it was actually me having a laugh at them. This was just all the stuff they liked most in the universe provided to them. Yay! And it's like, wow, this is just everything I like in the world. It's like, I know! So, I did this game. And it's a good game. It's a card game. And a game that came out sort of Magic the Gathering and so on. I was on the playtest team for Magic the Gathering. That's all there. So I did this as a viable card game. It's actually a good one. So, inside the box. I've just opened this one. Ta-da! There's the rules. And the rules were like, they're done in card size, and we need to play. So, you have different sides. You can choose to basically be... normally you can choose to be Vixen or Vimp. But you can do it one against one, or you can do it with multiple players, as many as you want. But what you've got is, you've got girls. You've got different sorts of cards. Now, where are we? So we've got, essentially, we've got the girls. And these are characters that you can play. So we've got the gals. How much of this can I show you? Sure I can. So, now, girls have... here we go. So we've got things like... we got Hilda and... yeah, we've got all our different creatures. So, they have a class. So there are different sorts of gals. Some are the girl next door. Some are kind of goth chicks. Some are bondage and discipline chicks. Some are cheerleadery sorts, etc., etc. Now, some of these girl types can trump other girl types. They get a bonus against them. So it's like the wiles of the evil bondage ones can sometimes be trumped by the girl next door. She's just too innocent to fall for that stuff. But on the other hand, they're really good at preying on the cheerleader types because they're etc. So you get this kind of thing. Now, what you have is you get a hand of gals, and you deal out many cards, but amongst those cards there are events and so on. There are minions. The minions are little followers, and you can use them to add to your whole there you go. You can use those to add to your background. So you can get Vimps, but you can also get you can get more Vimps. You can get a medical team. These sorts of things. So all of the minions can be sort of burned to help you do some attacks, and they get you extra points. But others have special abilities that you can either continue to use, or you can burn them to use the attacks. There's also some like the dreaded fanboy, which you attach to someone else, and that follows that character around, and it basically degrades their posing power because you've got this idiot following around asking questions, and everyone wants to avoid you. But you've got the closet, and the closet has costume bits. Now what you're trying to do is outpose the other side. So when it's your turn, you try and assemble outfits. You can take girls and put them out to pose, or you can hold them just in your hand, or you can send them into the closet. When you've got someone in the closet, they can take items from the closet and assemble an outfit. There are tops, tails, and props. So there's props. It might be a gun, it might be a whip, it might be a parasol, it might be different things. Tails are bottom halves of costumes, tops are top halves of costumes. Bottom halves, skirts, yoga pants, the map of Tasmania, got to look that one up, etc. But each of these items, they are specific to a type of gal. So the goth gals, their outfit chunks are a particular sort. You can wear them if you're not a gal of that sort, but they're not as effective for you. But what you do is you try and assemble an outfit and go out and pose. You challenge the other side to try and pose against you. You both compare values, burn any extras that you're going to burn, and see who's got the highest pose value. Whoever has lost, they take ego damage to their side. Their egos are being worn away by being outposed. So you've got basically you start off with some ego points, and they're worn away as you take damage. And when your ego goes zero, your side's had enough. It just can't take the embarrassment anymore. They're being outposed. You've got to flee. So you're trying to just non-violent combat outpose the other side. Now the thing is, once you've posed in an outfit, once you've been seen in one outfit, its effect is lessened. So if you've got someone still out there, if this has been used in a pose before, it's not as effective. So that's why you keep cycling people through the closet all the time, trying to come up with new outfits. And when you go back in, you have to discard things out of the closet, etc., etc., etc. So you've got a constant parade of gals going into the closet. You're assembling cool new outfits. So good, good. So I've got Hilda, and she's going to be wearing. She's going to have the insane, ridiculous railgun as a prop. She's going to have, she's got this cool bra, and she's also got the lucky horseshoe. She's going to... Hilda's in the Chongsam, etc. You build these outfits, and off you go. It was actually a terrific game. It really was. It is a great card game. It's got tactics. You can... figure, am I going to have a spread of different types of girls so that I've got some to trump other ones the guy can put out, or am I going to concentrate my efforts on like one or two sorts, which means I can whittle that closet, because you can only fit a certain amount of stuff in your closet. So I'm going to whittle that closet down so that it's got, you know, outfits that specifically suit those particular types. You know, you got these kind of tactical things. Am I going to do a hand that, am I going to concentrate on trying to build up lots of minions and so on, and use these kind of one-shot burns, or am I going to, you know, concentrate more on props and, you know, cool events, etc. It was just a riot, just damn good, unwholesome fun. Now there was some backup sets that were done. One was a supplemental set which had a whole bunch of new girls, a whole bunch of new costumes and so on. And then there was another set called Goddesses, where it takes all of those characters but it puts them in the guise of different goddesses from history. So you've got some are Aztec, some are Mixtec, some are you know, Greek and Persian and Valkyrie and all this sort of stuff, and outfits that suit all of that. So it was just plain good fun, really. Now I can bring out outfits that make this one look like Osiris. Now I can, you know, bring out the obsidian dagger and the skull mask, all these sorts of things. Just a riot. The game was put out by United Publications, who published a collected edition of the first season of Tank Vixens. I believe they're still out there. Now, I say I believe because I haven't heard from these guys in years. They printed all these things, and, you know, we are talking a while ago here. And last I'd heard, the chaps from United Publications, like, there was some health problems. You know, they face it, they'd gotten old and hadn't been active. Older fans out there, be active. Really, do some kind of movement-based exercise, or you'll pay for it. But I believe I will go look for the links and I'll put them down below, because you know, they still had hard copies of these selling at conventions. I've got one or two around the house, but yeah, these guys had bundles of them and bundles of the comics. So look, it was a good game. It really did work. It was a riot. It's an unwholesome riot. It's just strange girly art, cool costumes, and that whole idea of the non-violent combat. I'm just trying to outpose the other side and, you know, crush their egos so that they eventually run away and leave us with the field. Tank Vixens, the sarcasm that just kind of isn't it fail if you do a piss take of something and no one gets it. No, it was thoroughly enjoyable as it was. It was silly, good, ridiculous fun. Look, in these later days, would I do it again? No, I would not. But on the other hand, I'm still a laughing, ridiculous, funny person who does that. It's just that these days I actually dress that way. So anyway, it is a riot. If you can ever find a copy, it's well worth seeing. And if you've liked the reviews, by all means, please hit like, please hit subscribe, please look for me on Patreon, and I will keep doing the reviews, and hopefully I'll see you around the gaming table someday. Looks for drink. Aha, I told you we need one. Okay, cheers everybody. Bye.